Welcome back, tiny friends. I'm Jolene, and today I'm going to use these beads to make metal canteens for the World War I gas masks. I keep thinking about these, and since I was going to make them, I wanted to share with you because it's a pretty simple DIY that you could do yourself. You can use pretty much anything to cover up the bottoms. I'm going to use some aluminum tape because I had it on hand. No need to go out and buy any, just use what you have. You can use cardstock or chipboard and glue it into place, or you can even use masking tape. Right now, I'm just making a few snips around the curves. This will help to smoothly lay it down nice and tight around the curved sides. I'm going to paint over them, so it's not going to matter what you choose to use. Now I'm going to take a piece of cardstock, and I'm actually going to trim this piece into 3 skinny pieces, and they're all going to be about the same size. I don't know how this works out, but it did. I just took my time when cutting these strips. You just want to cut yourself a nice skinny strip to go around the bottom of your bead, according to what shape and size bead that you're using. So you can make any size strip you would like. I'm using tacky glue for this, and I'm just going to line it right up along the edge of the bottom. This will help cover up anything that I'm using on the bottom and also add some extra detail. Whatever tape is exposed after I glue this piece on, I'll just carefully cut away with a craft knife before painting. I'm going to give it a nice base coat of black chalk paint. I like using chalk paint because it pretty much sticks to about anything you're applying it to. If your bead has a coating on it, you might want to paint it with some sort of gesso or maybe some Mod Podge or some sort of matte liquid text varnish first to help the paint stick. When the chalk paint is dry, it can easily be scratched off. But I'm going to go ahead and add some Testors modeling paint, and this color is called Steel. I'm going to put a good amount of this on here. Testors modeling paint takes a while to dry, so if you're using this, just be patient and let it dry overnight. I'm going to use some wet black chalk pastels and just color around the bottom trimming and lightly pull it upward with a cotton swab. When I say wet, I'm just wetting my brush and adding a little bit of water to it versus using it dry. Because I put a pretty thick coat of this Testors enamel paint, it's still very slightly tacky. And the dry chalk pastel probably would have stuck really well, but wetting your brush and adding a tiny bit of water will just help it have a darker contrast, and it just makes the process a little faster. After applying chalk pastel, you definitely want to seal it. So I'm going to use a matte varnish by Duraclear. But I do go back in later on and add more color to the canteens. The Duraclear varnish dries pretty quickly, and I love using it. I use the matte, I use the satin, and I just favor this brand of varnish. While those are drying, I'm going to take some rubbing alcohol and a little bit of black acrylic paint. I'm going to mix these two together, and I'm going to color the chain. The chain I'm using for these are gold, so I kind of want to dirty them up really good. I still feel like you can see the gold through the solution, so I'm just adding a little more of the black acrylic paint. I'm using a skinny strip of aluminum pie pan, and I'm going to make the clasp to hold the straps. I'm using my round wire pliers, and I'm pretty sure I showed this process when I was making the gas masks. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link in the description box below. But I've just rounded the end to make a little tube, and now I'm putting in a little jump ring. And then I'll close the jump ring Once I get it closed, I'm going to start to turn the jump ring so that the opening will sit inside the tube and it won't be seen. I'm going to snip off the extra, just leaving enough so that I can do the same thing on this end minus the jump ring. So I'm just rolling it to a little tube and leaving some space in between the two tubes. And this is my little clasp that will hold my strap. I'm going to take some fabric stiff, and I also showed this process while I was making the gas masks. I'm just cutting tiny strips off of a scrap of ribbon, and I'm going to use a sewing pin. I'm going to ravel the strap back and forth, kind of like a zigzag. Sometimes I don't even put the pin through, I just wrap it around the pin just to give it a different fold. This strap that I'm using frays really bad, but once it's dry, I'll just trim all of that off and it'll be fine. Once I get this strap completely onto the pin, I'm just going to dip it in the fabric stiff and set it aside to dry overnight. Now I'm going to add the metal pieces to the canteen. That will be the top part. And I'm going to begin with a jump ring, and I'm adding a little bit of super glue to it. I'm going to lay the jump ring right around the hole in the center of the bead. I wanted to add a little more silver to the canteens, so I'm using my silver chrome marker or paint pen, and I'm just dabbing some on a piece of paper, using my stamper, and then just stamping some around the canteens. This will help give it a little more silver, a little more chrome. I just felt like they were a little too dark, and the steel will look like the chrome has tarnished. I'm going to go ahead and finish adding the beads to the top, and this was also the same process that I did with the canteen, the canvas canteen in the gas mask video. So I'm using the same two beads. One is bigger than the other, so I'm going with the bigger one first, and it kind of looks like the end of a garden hose. So I'm going to glue that into place. It's going to sit right inside the jump ring. Then I'm going to take the smaller bead and glue it right to the top of that bead. To close off the hole that's on the top of the bead, I'm just going to add some super glue inside it. And I'm going to use flat head bead pins. I've cut them down to size and I'm just popping them into place. For the chain, I'm going to glue one end to the bottom section on the back. Once I get that nice and secure, I'm going to take this end and bring it to the front and glue it to the side of the top bead. Now I'm going to add the little clasps on the side, making sure to line them up even with each other. Now I'm going to add a little bit of rust, and I'm going to use my burnt sienna, and I'm going to use a little bit of water to tone it down just a little bit. So I'm using a fine detail brush, and I'm just adding a little bit here and there around the edge and the sides and around the clasp, and also a little bit on the top and bottom. Okay, my straps are dry and I'm just going to pull the pin out and unravel them. And you can see they frayed a lot, but that's okay because I'm just going to cut all of that off and clean them up really nicely. Now for the last step, I'm going to go in with a little bit of yellow chalk pastel and I'm just dry brushing the chalk pastel. Once I get the yellow on, I'll go in with a little bit of brown and just add hints of brown along the strap and just to dirty up some more of the areas and along the edges. Once this process is done, I'm going to attach the straps to the canteens. I'll slide the strap through the jump ring, fold the ends over the jump ring, and attach it to the strap using fabric tack. I'm going to swap out the canvas canteen with this one up in the attic, and then I'll add the other two metal canteens to the World War I gas mask that I made in the previous video, and those will be listed on my Etsy shop. There'll be 2 sets available, and if you've seen the previous video or if you click the link in the description box below, I created 2 different style gas masks. Well, that completes today's project, tiny friends. I hope you have enjoyed this quick and simple DIY. Don't be afraid to try other shape and style beads to get the desired look that you're going for. If you've enjoyed this project today, please don't forget to click that like button and give it a thumbs up. As always, I like to thank everybody for subscribing. Thank you all so much for all your support, and welcome to all my new subscribers. Oh my goodness, thank you all so much. I really appreciate all the likes, the shares, and the comments, and I love reading all of your stories and your ideas and suggestions. I'm going to try to bring some of your ideas and suggestions to life in the next upcoming videos for the attic, so stay tuned to see what I'll be adding to the attic next. Don't forget to let me know what you think about this transformation in the comments below. If you like what you've seen today and would like to see more of my miniature content, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit that top bell notification button so that you can be notified every time I upload a new project, so you don't miss out. Until next time, tiny friends, I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you all on the mini side.